Tatsuki Fujimoto, the mangaka behind the sensation that is Chainsaw Man, after completing the work on that manga, took a break and wrote a pretty lengthy one-shot manga called Look Back. It was praised for being such a moving story, so it was no surprise that the die-hard fans were excited when an adaptation in the form of a movie was announced earlier in 2024. The movie was produced by Studio Jurian and got released on 28 June in theaters in Japan to a commercial and critical success. Now, it's available on Prime Video for everyone to watch, so let's talk about it. Now, before we move on to the summary, Easter eggs, and review, don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps us out. The story opens with Fujino, a confident and yet somewhat arrogant young girl who is known at her school for her manga skills. She regularly creates short manga strips for the school newsletter and takes pride in her work, enjoying the recognition she gets from others. However, everything changes when another student's work, Kiyomoto's, is also published alongside hers in the newsletter. Kiyomoto's art is significantly more detailed and impressive, which starts to make Fujino feel inadequate. This newfound rivalry with Kiyomoto drives Fujino to work obsessively, constantly improving her skills in an attempt to surpass Kiyomoto that she alienates her friends and family. Despite her efforts, she feels she's still unable to match Kiyomoto's talent that she quits. Now, when her class graduates from middle school, Fujino is tasked with giving Kiyomoto her diploma at her house. Fujino finds a pile of sketchbooks in Kiyomoto's house. She finds a strip of paper, draws on it mocking Kiyomoto, but it accidentally enters Kiyomoto's room and Fujino runs away. Kiyomoto then chases after her and says that she's a big fan of Kiyomoto's manga strips and that she's an awkward shut-in. This gives Fujino a burst of different emotions and she decides to start drawing again. The two bond over their shared passion for manga, with Fujino's extroversion balancing Kiyomoto's introversion. They begin collaborating on one-shot manga together, receiving high praise. Then in their teenage years, Fujino was told that they were going to be serialized, but Kiyomoto opts out because he wanted to get formal education in art. They then argue and go their separate ways. Fujino works on a manga, Shark Kick, which becomes popular and gets an anime adaptation announced. One day, Fujino hears about a mass murder at an art college and that Kiyomoto was one of the casualties. She is devastated, and carried by her guilt, she goes to Kiyomoto's house and tears the manga strip she drew years ago, tears it up and decides to look back on the fateful day to see what would have happened if they hadn't talked. We then see the story play out differently. Kiyomoto would still have gone to art college, but Fujino would have been more serious with karate, as she saves Fujino when the attacker at the art college comes. The what-if scenario ends with Fujino offering to create a manga with Kiyomoto after they catch up. We then return to current day and see that Kiyomoto had drawn a manga strip of her own, showing Fujino saving her based on this other timeline. This forces Fujino to enter Kiyomoto's room. She sees that Kiyomoto had been keeping up with all the Shark Kick copies that had come out, showing that despite their differences, Kiyomoto was still her biggest fan. Fujino had been wondering why she would want to draw manga, but then she realized that it was because of the joy it gave Kiyomoto. So after taping the strip made by Kiyomoto above her workstation, she begins drawing again. Number 1. So to start off, the names of the protagonists. Fujino and Kiyomoto. When you take the 4 first letters of the former and the last 4 letters of the latter, they form Fujimoto, the last name of the mangaka. Even though it's not confirmed that the story is based on real-life experiences by Tatsuki Fujimoto, some of the experiences are shared amongst mangaka and some that reflect what we know about him, like being a huge fan of cinema, which ties into number 2. Fujino has posters of different movies on a wall that change from day to day. Number 3. There are different manga from Shueisha that appear in the store that Fujino and Kiyomoto go and visit. Number 4. There are references to his other work besides Chainsaw Man, like his one-shots. Number 5. Now for all the Chainsaw Man references. The volume cover for Shark Kick is a reference to Chainsaw Man, but the head is of a shark, which is a possible nod to Beam. Kiyomoto paints the door that we see at the beginning of the anime. There is a recreation of the scene in a cinema. Fujino is reading an alternative timeline Chainsaw Man. If there are any references that you spotted that we missed, let us know in the comment section down below. This adaptation of the one-shot manga elevates what was already a great story to something even greater. The vibrancy and creativity in the art style of the animation gives it a lot of character. Also, the sound design and score is phenomenal. It manages to capture the exact emotions that are being portrayed in a given scene. We absolutely love this movie and definitely recommend giving it a try. And if you've already watched it, what is your favorite moment from it? Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content coming your way.